Definitely time to put heels away. Mind you, this year I had so many vertigo attacks that sometimes when I was wearing heels I just looked like a drunk Nora Batty with a clap. Maybe my heel days are over. Yep, time for wellies. Hi guys, Debbie from Green Man Art here. Welcome to my YouTube channel and welcome to this week's video. In this week's video, as well as doing another analog to digital sketch like I did last week, I'm going to be talking about how to manage your mental health and keep healthy when you're working for yourself. So the first thing you need to know about me is that I suffer from depression, and I have done since the birth of my second child. That's 14 years now. Some days are better than others, but at this time of year it does get noticeably worse, and working for myself has meant that I've had to manage my mental health even more acutely than had I been working for somebody else, because I don't get the benefit of sick pay, I don't get the benefit of putting things off for tomorrow. I'm doing about 100 different jobs just to stay afloat, and so this year I've noticed I've had to manage myself a little bit better. And I know a lot of people at this time of year get affected by the seasonal changes in light, so I just thought it would be quite a good idea to offer some solutions to anybody else out there, any other freelance illustrators who might be struggling with motivation and their mental health. Okay, so number one I found is eat well. I know, I'm your mother, but cut out processed foods, or I've cut out processed foods, anything with preservatives. If it comes in a jar or a packet, I just don't eat it. I cook things from scratch, and I try to have as many green smoothies as possible, and I just feel better for it. When I eat processed food, I begin to notice the difference, and it can be weeks on down the road, but I do notice the difference when I eat processed foods. Secondly, increase your protein and increase your green veg. We base a lot of our diets on carbohydrates in this society, and it fills but it doesn't nourish, and it also can affect the body badly, especially if you're eating a lot of bread. Protein and green veg have been shown to release dopamine, and the best kind of meals are when it's half the plate is vegetables, a significant others protein, and then you have a little bit of carbohydrates, rather than the main bulk of it being carbohydrates. And I've noticed for me, increased protein really helps. Also, I've started using probiotics. I don't know if that's making a big difference, but it does make me feel a bit better. Okay, the second thing I do is I take supplements, and if you're going to take supplements, it's always worth talking to your GP, because if you're on previous medication or you have an underlying health issue, you really need to find out what you can take. But the supplements I take are vitamin D3, which I've been taking for about 3 years now, and that has been an absolute game changer. It's proven to increase the effectiveness of antidepressants, and I think the body just absorbs it better, and it's like the sunshine drug, so the body thinks it's actually getting sunshine. But I've noticed since taking it, I've been managing my moods a whole lot better, especially at this time of year when I used to really nosedive. So most of the year I take one tablet with my antidepressants. This time of year I take 2, and it just seems to keep me on an even keel. I also take magnesium and turmeric. Turmeric's been proven to increase dopamine levels in the brain. Magnesium you need if you're depressed anyway, and it helps you sleep. I've got sleep issues. Number 3, get outside. This is one I don't practice a lot, but I do need to start doing this a whole lot more now, get into a habit of going for a walk every day, or getting outside, sitting in the garden, getting some fresh air, getting some sun. Even 5 minutes, it's such a boost to the mental health. So just get outside, get some fresh air. Number 4 was told to me by someone who's in the mental health, I won't say trade, but industry, and she said, make your bed. Simple little things like making your bed, and it actually does help. If you can do the little things throughout the day, you've achieved something. Even if you're feeling your absolute worst and all you want to do is sleep, if you've made your bed, at least you've got a nice bed to get back into. There are some days when you can't manage much, and some days when you can't move. Just a little thing like having somewhere nice to sit can lift your mood. Also, another thing which ties into that is, especially if you're working from home, is wear nice clothes. Get up and put some clothes on. Don't sit in your pajamas all day just because you're working from home. It's a really slippery slope into being a slob, and it's not good for the mental health. So wear nice clothes, put makeup on if you wear makeup, brush your beard if you've got a beard, put perfume on, present yourself as though you're presenting yourself to somebody else, and it really does lift your mood. Number 6 on my list was be kind to yourself. Treat yourself like you treat somebody you love. So if somebody you knew that was going through depression, do and say the things that you do for them. Don't expect them to be able to move mountains, so don't expect yourself to move mountains. Some days they might need to sleep, you need to sleep. Some days you can do all the things and some days you can't. It's just the way it is. Some people have to take insulin for the rest of their lives. Some people have to take antidepressants for the rest of their lives. Some people have a broken leg and can't run a marathon, and some people have invisible illnesses. Just be kind to yourself and treat yourself the way you treat other people. Number 7, and this is something which annoys me when other people say it when I'm feeling depressed, it's be grateful. It doesn't help when you're feeling depressed and somebody says, oh, be positive, look in the mirror and tell yourself you love yourself. It doesn't work. It really doesn't work, because depression is not, it's not an attitude problem, it's a chemical problem, and there are some days you just don't care about anything. But still maintaining habits of finding things to be grateful for, even when you can't feel joy in them, sometimes that's enough to tip the balance. So try and find at least 3 things every day that you're grateful for, even if you don't feel it. And that becomes a habit. Eventually that becomes a habit. And we've all got something to be grateful for, even in the worst days, we've got something to be grateful for. And finally, if none of that helps and you're still struggling, get help. Don't suffer in silence. There are people who are trained to help, and there are people who want to help. Go to your GPs. If your GPs is shut or you're desperate, go to a walk-in clinic. If they're shut, it's late, go to an accident and emergency and tell them, I'm going to hurt myself, or I'm not feeling great, I need help, and they will help you. That's what they're there for, and they want to help. I'm also going to leave numbers to some helplines. The Samaritans you can ring and talk, and there's a text line now called Shout, where you can actually text and get help by text if talking's not your thing. Anyway, so just a few things I thought might help with your freelance illustration or work at home business if you're not feeling great this time of year. I'm going to show you a few things that I'm grateful for, because it's been quite grey recently here, and we all need some reminders sometimes. And then I'm going to do another analog to digital sketch. So that's it for this week. Thanks for stopping by. Bit of a rambling post, sorry for that. I'd also like to remind you that any contributions towards the zine that I'm making about depression, if you could get them to me by the end of December, that would be great. I've had feedback from a number of you. Thank you so much for that. That will really help. And if you do want to contribute towards this explanation of what it's like to have depression, and what you'd like to tell the people around you, which I spoke about in another video, then I will leave my email address here, and you can email me your details, telling me what it's like to have this thing and what message you'd like the people around you to know. And I'd also like to thank my patrons, who are awesome and support my work and are great people, and I love you very much. I'd also like to thank the people, God, I'm like accepting a BAFTA. I'd like to thank the people who follow me on Patreon who don't subscribe to a tier yet, and if you want to do that, you can go over to my Patreon site, hit the follow, and you'll be notified of any new content. And also, who else do I need to thank? I need to thank my mom. I'd like to thank God, my sister, something else I was going to say. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Hopefully I'll see you next week.